its handlers are overambitious to want to have 59% decrease from the 34% current inflation to 15%. I think that is over ambitious, and it's quite clear with the indices that are available to Nigerians. You recall, he actually alluded to last year that you said you want to bring inflation down to 21%, and it was pretty difficult. So sometimes we need to do our budget in a realistic manner. Though budget is a planned expenditure and income. However, those baseline, those bases need to be well thought through, because it makes a caricature of us that you are doing a budget and you are saying what you know is quite not possible. So going forward, like you rightly said, we have a lot of problem that has to do with inflation, and the CBN is actually not helping. For me, having put up about 40 framework to solve Nigeria monetary problem, it still not work. And the CBN is also adamant on hawkish approach to solve inflationary problem, which is quite not a good one. Well, let me take it to the other side where you actually stopped to talk about borrowing. For me, I think I agree with him. Borrowing is never a bad thing. In fact, I am of the opinion and school of thought that we should borrow big when we are borrowing. Please don't go borrow 1 trillion, 2 trillion. You need to borrow big. Let me give you a good example. Our deficit challenge on housing is going to be solved by 6 trillion. Why not borrow 6 trillion and solve the problem at once? Because this one that you go, look at this foreign budget that don't go 2024. Nigeria still go and borrow to solve the problem. So when you are borrowing, borrow big and borrow for a good projectized project. And I must also tell you that our budget is very, very small. In Nigeria as a country should be doing 100 trillion naira budget, not 49 trillion. That look at it, how much is for capital project, how much will take care of the road, take care of the education, take care of health and other social infrastructure. You can see that even debt servicing is taking a whole lot from us. So for me, borrowing is not bad. What you are borrowing for is what is actually very, very key. So for me, this budget is over ambitious in terms of the baseline, but in terms of the budget size, I think it's very small. When you compare ourselves to Brazil, to even South Africa, in Africa, to Egypt, I think we're not ready. We must work on our revenue side the more. And that's why when this tax reform actually came about, some of us said, well, it's a good way, it's a good thing if it will increase our revenue without harming or killing the small business. And there are factors of small businesses and manufacturing sector in their plan.
Okay, let me bring Shola back into the discussion right now, because we talked about borrowing may not be a bad thing at the end of the day. But the president talked about what are we borrowing for? Infrastructural development. And Ali just mentioned the fact that if we want to borrow, let's borrow big. And also put into consideration that our budget, 49.something trillion, at this level, put into consideration that our population may not really be enough. When you look at the breakdown of the budget, the amount is budgeted for infrastructure development, I think it's between 4.something or 2.something trillion. Do you think our budget is small? And do you think the project we want to embark on for a country of over 200 million people, are we doing enough when it comes to population and expectation going to 2025?
Thank you very much, Tolu. The thing there is this: it's not even about the 4 trillion naira that is our portion to it. It's about what percentage of that 4 trillion would we have been able to fully implement in a good manner by from this period, if God willing, if we have this conversation by 2025. So it is not even about budget. If you budget 1 trillion, 2 trillion, 3 trillion, whatever it is you budget, how far with the implementation? Because it's the implementation of the long run that sees that the infrastructure is on ground and available for people to use. Now, the other note of caution that we need to tread on is this: how many of our infrastructural projects are able to pay for themselves? How many of them are politically motivated? We need to begin to look at things from that perspective. If I'm building a road, for instance, can that road maintain itself without my needing to borrow to renovate the road for subsequent cycles? If I have railway, for instance, why am I declaring free transportation for a certain period for a loan that has not been paid? That most likely the infrastructure itself would have needed overhaul by the time the loan itself would have matured for payment. So if we're going to build a country, we need to begin to look at it from a business perspective. From a business perspective, it makes a lot more sense. If the trains run on time, Tommy, we will reduce costs. If I had an opportunity of a bus stop, of getting to the bus stop, and within a period of 20, 30 minutes, I'm able to get a bus that would get me safely to my destination. I'll dump my car, and then I'll get to save a lot more money. So all these things are intertwined. The government budget, not bad. Borrowing itself is not bad because it allows you access funds that you do not have today for infrastructure that would impact